They told me the flight was overbooked, forcing me to stay behind while 9 family members flew to Hawaii. I was heartbroken but understanding until the photo arrived. They were partying in the luxury villa I paid for. I didn't scream. I just called the bank and reported every single charge as fraud. Before we continue today's story, we have an urgent announcement to make. Due to technical issues, we are pivoting towards another channel. Please subscribe to our new channel, Kin and Karma. You can find the link in the video description, the pinned comment, and the collaboration tag on this video. Make sure to switch over now so you don't miss out. Thank you for your support. Now back to the story. The suitcase was waiting by the front door. It wasn't just any suitcase. It was the vintage leather oversized rolling bag I had bought specifically for this trip, a treated hide that smelled of excitement and long overdue relaxation. Inside, perfectly folded in packing cubes, was a carefully curated wardrobe for 10 days of Hawaiian paradise. I had the floral maxi dresses, the wide-brimmed sun hat that I'd felt a bit silly buying but knew would look perfect on the beach, and the stack of paperback novels I had been saving for months, anticipating the feeling of the trade winds on my face while I read them. I checked my watch. 5:45 a.m. The Uber was scheduled to arrive in 15 minutes to take me to the airport to meet everyone else. My phone buzzed in my hand. I smiled, assuming it was my brother, Leo, probably texting to make sure I remembered the printed itineraries I had laminated for the group. That was my role in the family. The organizer, the payer, the one who made sure the logistics were seamless. I was a senior logistics coordinator for a major shipping firm. Moving goods and people around the world was literally my profession. But the name on the screen wasn't Leo. It was Aunt Patris. "Hey, Auntie." I answered, my voice raspy with morning sleep but cheerful. "I'm just grabbing coffee. I'll see you at Terminal 4 in." "Sophie, stop," Patris's voice cut through the line. It wasn't frantic, which was strange. It was flat, resigned. "Don't get in the Uber." My stomach did that terrible, sudden flip, the kind you feel when you miss a step on a staircase in the dark. What? Why? Is everyone okay? Did something happen to Mom? "Everyone is fine," Patris said, though I could hear the background noise of the terminal behind her, the distinctive hum of announcements and rolling luggage. "It's the tickets, Sophie. We're at the check-in counter now. There's been a massive mix-up." I gripped the edge of my kitchen counter. "What kind of mix-up? I have the confirmations right here. I booked the group rate myself 6 months ago." I know," she sighed, a sound that implied she was dealing with a great burden. "But the agent here is saying the flight is overbooked, completely full. They're bumping passengers." We tried to argue, Leo tried to yell, but they're saying there's literally 1 seat fewer than we have people. "Okay," I said, my mind immediately shifting into problem-solving mode. "Okay, don't panic. Who got bumped? Was it the kids? I can get on the phone with the Platinum desk right now." "It's you, Sophie," Patris said. The silence in my kitchen was deafening. The hum of the refrigerator seemed to stop. "Me." "Yeah, they said since you were the primary cardholder on the booking but the last to check in online, you got flagged. I don't know, honey, it's all technical mumbo-jumbo, but the plane is full. There are no other flights out until Tuesday." Today was Friday. The trip was only 7 days long. If I flew out Tuesday, I'd miss almost the entire vacation. I can come down there," I stammered, looking at my beautiful leather bag. "I can talk to the gate agent. Usually, if you offer cash, someone will volunteer to give up their seat. I have status with this airline, Auntie. Let me come talk to them." "No," Patris snapped almost too quickly. Then her voice softened, dripping with a sugary, patronizing tone I knew too well. "Look, honey, the gate is closing in 20 minutes. We have to go through security. If you come down here, it'll just be a scene. Leo is already a wreck about it. Don't make it harder on him. Just stay home. Maybe it's a sign you need to rest. You've been working so hard." "But it's my trip," I whispered. "I paid for the villa." "And we are so grateful," she rushed on. "We'll take tons of pictures. We'll FaceTime you. Look, they're calling our zone. I have to go. I am so sorry, Sophie. Love you." The line went dead. I stood there for a long time, the phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the silence. My Uber notification popped up. Your driver, Ahmed, is arriving in 2 minutes. I canceled the ride. I sat down on my suitcase, the leather creaking under my weight, and I stared at the front door. I didn't cry immediately. I was in a state of shock, a physical numbness that started in my fingertips and worked its way up to my chest. It wasn't just that I was missing the vacation. It was the feeling that I had been discarded. I was the architect of this joy, yet I was the only one excluded from it. As the sun began to rise, casting long, lonely shadows across my living room floor, a single thought pierced through the heartbreak, sharp and cold as ice. The betrayal wasn't the airline's mistake. It was the ease with which they left me behind. The first day was a blur of gray misery. I didn't unpack. I couldn't bring myself to put the floral dresses back into the closet. That would be admitting that the dream was truly dead. Instead, I left the suitcase by the door, like a monument to my own gullibility. I spent the morning wandering around my empty house. I had taken the week off work, obviously, so I had nothing to distract me. The silence was oppressive. Every time I looked at the clock, I calculated where they were. 8:00 a.m., they are in the air now. 11:00 a.m., probably serving the meal service. I pre-ordered the vegan option for Julia because she's been trying that new diet. 2:00 p.m., approaching the islands. The view out the window must be incredible. I tried to be rational. Airlines overbook flights all the time. It's a known industry practice. Statistically, it happens, but the logistics coordinator in me couldn't shut off. My brain kept snagging on small, jagged details that didn't fit the smooth surface of Petrus's story. Why was I the one bumped? I was the primary booking agent. Usually, the airline bumps the people with the lowest fare class or no status. I was gold tier. And why did Petrus insist I not come to the airport? If I had been there, I could have leveraged my status to bump a stranger or at least negotiated a massive compensation voucher. Her refusal to let me try felt protective. But who was she protecting? Around 3:00 p.m. my phone chimed. It was a text from Leo. Leo, hey Soph, just landed. It's beautiful here. We are all so bummed you aren't here. Honestly, it doesn't feel right without you. Petrus is trying to cheer everyone up, but we miss you. So sorry this happened. I stared at the screen. Bummed, doesn't feel right. I typed back, I'm glad you made it safely. Did you guys get the rental vans okay? The confirmation number is in the binder I gave Mom. Leo, yeah, smooth sailing. Julia says hi. She feels terrible. I didn't reply to that. Julia, my sister-in-law, had been the one pushing for Hawaii over Mexico. She had sent me links to the specific villa we booked, the Grand Kapalua, costing $1,200 a night. I had swallowed hard at the price but agreed because I wanted this reunion to be perfect. I wanted to spoil my family. I was the single one, the career woman with no kids, and I had always felt a subtle pressure to be the provider of luxuries. I put the phone down and walked to my home office. I needed to do something to stop the pity party. I decided to log into my credit card portal. I wanted to see if the airline had processed a partial refund for my ticket yet. If they had denied me boarding involuntarily, legally, they owed me 400% of the one-way fare. I wanted to see that credit. It would be a small consolation prize. I logged in. My eyes scanned the recent transactions. Pending, Hawaiian Airlines in-flight purchase, $45. Pending, Hawaiian Airlines in-flight purchase, $32. Pending, HNL airport car rental, $850. I frowned. They were using my card for snacks. I had told them to use the card for the big expenses, but Leo had his own money for drinks. Whatever, I let it slide. But there was no refund pending from the airline. I clicked on the flight details in my saved email folder. I pulled up the reservation code on the airline's website. I just wanted to see the status, refunding, or canceled next to my name. I typed in the confirmation code, H7J9K2. The itinerary loaded. Passenger list. Petrus Miller flown. Leo Miller flown. Julia Miller flown. Sophie Miller no-show. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. No show. Not denied boarding. Not involuntary bump. No show. In airline terminology, no show means the passenger had a valid ticket, a reserved seat, and simply failed to appear at the gate. It meant the seat had been there. It meant the plane hadn't been overbooked at all. I sat back in my ergonomic office chair, the leather cooling my skin, but my blood was boiling. If I was a no-show, that meant there was an empty seat on that plane. A seat that flew all the way to Hawaii empty. Why would Patris lie? Why would she tell me the flight was full? I replayed the phone call. Patris's voice cut through the line. Don't get in the U-berth. She hadn't called me from the gate to tell me I was bumped. She had called me before I even left my house to ensure I didn't show up. She stopped me. A cold realization washed over me. They didn't leave me behind because of bad luck. They left me behind because they didn't want me there. But they had forgotten one crucial thing. I wasn't just the nice sister who paid for things. I was the woman who managed supply chains for a living. I knew how to track everything. And I knew exactly where the money trail led. To understand why this hurt so much, you have to understand the history of my wallet and my family. For the last decade, ever since I got promoted to management, I have been the Miller family bank. It started small, picking up the check at birthday dinners, buying the school supplies for Leo and Julia's kids. But as my salary grew, so did their expectations. Aunt Patris was the ringleader. Patris hasn't held a steady job since the late 90s. She describes herself as a free spirit and an entrepreneur, though her businesses usually involve selling essential oils or handmade jewelry that turns your skin green. Despite her lack of income, Patris has a taste for the finer things. She was the one who insisted on premium economy. She was the one who sent me the link to the villa, saying, "Sophie, you work so hard, you deserve to stay in a palace." Looking back, I realized she never said we deserve it. She said I deserve it, knowing full well she'd be sleeping in the master suite. Then there was Leo, my little brother. We used to be close, but ever since he married Julia, he changed. Julia was difficult. She was the kind of person who kept score. If I bought our mom a nice gift, Julia would make a snide comment about how some of us have mortgages and children to pay for, so we can't just throw money around. She resented my success, yet she felt entitled to the fruits of it. I had absorbed all of this. I took the passive-aggressive comments. I took the forgotten wallets at restaurants. I did it because I wanted a family. I wanted to be the cool aunt, the loving sister. I thought if I paid enough, I could buy their love or at least their respect. I stared at the no-show status on my screen. The sun was setting now. In Hawaii, it was just past noon. They would be checking into the villa soon. I needed proof. The no-show status was damning, but I needed something concrete before I nuked my relationship with my entire family. Then it arrived. My phone pinged with a WhatsApp message. It was from Patris in the family group chat Aloha Vibes 2024, a name Julia had picked. "Patris, we made it. The villa is stunning. Sophie, you really outdid yourself with this pic. We are pouring one out for you. Wish you were here." Attached was a photo. It was a selfie. Patris was in the foreground, wearing a massive pair of sunglasses and holding a Mai Tai with a pineapple wedge. Julia was next to her, throwing up a peace sign, looking tanned and triumphant. Leo was in the background, looking a little sheepish, hauling luggage. But it was the background that caught my eye. They were standing in front of the massive double doors of the villa. It was a carved mahogany entrance, flanked by tiki torches. And hanging right there, in the center of the door, was a custom wooden welcome sign provided by the luxury rental company. It was clearly legible in high definition. "Welcome to Paradise, the Sophie Miller Party." My name was on the door of the house they were walking into, the house they had barred me from entering. And then, the second email hit my inbox. From Grand Kapalua Villas and Concierge Subject, Invoice 4492, check-in complete. "Dear Sophie, welcome to Maui. We have successfully checked your party. Per your instructions on file, we have charged the remaining balance of the accommodation, plus the requested, stock the fridge luxury package, and the private chef deposit for tonight's welcome dinner, to the card on file ending in 4092. Total charge processed, $14,250. I read the number, $14,250. I looked back at the photo. I zoomed in on Petrus's sunglasses. I could see the reflection of the ocean. I zoomed in on Julia's smirk. They weren't sad I wasn't there. They were relieved. They had successfully executed a coup. They had realized that my presence was the only damper on their vacation. I was the one who would want to go hiking instead of sitting by the pool drinking $20 cocktails. I was the one who would check the receipts. I was the boring one who paid for the fun, so they cut the boring out but kept the credit card. Petrus must have orchestrated it. She probably told them, Sophie is so stressed, she needs a staycation. Let's just tell her the flight is full. She'll be fine. She has plenty of money. And Leo, spineless Leo, had gone along with it. They were currently walking into a 5-star villa, eating food I paid for, drinking liquor I bought, laughing about how easy it was to trick me. I felt a tear finally roll down my cheek. It was hot and angry. Okay, I said aloud to the empty room. My voice didn't shake. You want to be the Sophie Miller party. I opened my banking app. I found the customer service number for the fraud department. Let's see how much you enjoy the party when the host cancels. The customer service rep, a man named Jard with a calm, practiced voice, asked me to verify my identity. Sophie Miller, I said, my eyes fixed on the screen where the pending charge from the villa glowed like a radioactive isotope. And the last 4 digits of my social are. I rattled them off. Jard typed for a moment. Thank you, Ms. Miller. How can I help you today? I need to report a series of fraudulent transactions on my account, I said, keeping my voice steady. Specifically, a charge of $14,250 from a rental property called Grand Kapalua Villas. There was a pause on the line. Okay, let me pull that up. Is the card in your possession? Yes, I said. I am currently at my home in Chicago. The charge is originating from Hawaii. I am not in Hawaii. I see, Jard said, his tone shifting from polite to professional alertness. And did you authorize anyone else to use this card? A family member, perhaps? This was the pivotal moment. If I said yes, if I admitted I had booked the villa originally, it would become a civil dispute. The bank wouldn't touch it. I had to be precise. I made a reservation months ago, I said carefully. However, I was informed by my travel companions that the trip was effectively canceled for me due to flight issues. I did not authorize check-in. I did not authorize any additional charges. And most importantly, I am not the person staying in that villa. If someone is using my card to pay for a vacation I am not on, that is unauthorized use. Understood, Jard said. And you are stating that you did not physically present the card at the property. Correct, I am in Illinois. Okay, Ms. Miller. I'm going to flag this transaction. We will need to freeze the card immediately to prevent further charges. Is that acceptable? Yes, I said. Freeze it, kill it. Done. The card ending in 4092 is now inactive. I will also initiate a chargeback for the $14,250. The merchant will be notified that the payment has been revoked due to fraud. They will likely reach out to the party on site for an alternative payment method. A cold, hard satisfaction settled in my chest. Thank you, Jard. That's exactly what I needed. I hung up. The first domino had been pushed, but I wasn't done. The villa was just the beginning. I needed to know everything. I needed to know exactly how deep this betrayal went. I opened my laptop and went to the airline's website again. I had my no-show status, but I wanted to see who had taken the seats. I had the confirmation numbers for everyone because, stupidly, I had emailed them to myself months ago. I pulled up Leo's itinerary. Seat 12A, I pulled up Julia's. Seat 12B, I pulled up Petrus's. Seat 14C, then I remembered something. When I booked the tickets, there were 9 of us. Me, Leo, Julia, their 2 kids, Mom, Dad, Petrus, and Uncle Jim. 9 tickets. But Petrus had said, there is literally 1 seat fewer than we have people. I looked at the passenger manifest again. There were 10 names on the reservation now. Petrus Miller. Leo Miller. Julia Miller. Sophie Miller, no show. Toby the Shark Vance. I blinked. Toby Vance. Who was Toby Vance? I searched the name on Facebook. Toby Vance, entrepreneur, life coach, visionary. His profile picture showed a man in his late 40s with bleached blonde hair, a deep tan, and a smile that looked like it cost more than my car. His bio read, "Manifesting abundance. Living the dream. CEO of Advance Ventures." I scrolled down. And there, in a post from 2 hours ago, was a photo. It was Toby Vance, sitting in a first-class seat on a Hawaiian Airlines flight. He was holding a glass of champagne. The caption read, "Aloha bound. Sometimes the universe just opens a door. Thanks to my angel at Patris Miller for making it happen. Blessed Hawaii Vance Ventures." The pieces clicked together with a sickening snap. Patris hadn't just kicked me off the trip. She had replaced me. She had given my seat, my paid-for premium economy seat, to her boyfriend, or whatever this life coach grifter was to her. She had told me the flight was overbooked so she could bring Toby. They were all in on it. Leo knew. Julia knew. My own parents must have known, or at least been told some lie to keep them quiet. They were all currently in a villa I paid for, with a man I didn't know, drinking champagne on my dime. The rage that had been simmering in my gut finally boiled over. It wasn't a hot, screaming rage anymore. It was cold. It was calculating. It was the kind of rage that burns bridges and salts the earth. I picked up my phone. I had one more call to make, not to the family, to the villa manager. I found the number for the Grand Kapalua concierge on their website. It was a direct line for platinum guests. I dialed. "Aloha, this is Kimo at the Grand Kapalua. How may I assist you this beautiful evening?" "Hi, Kimo," I said, my voice pleasant but firm. "My name is Sophie Miller. I believe my family just checked into the Royal Palm Villa under my name." "Ah, yes, the Miller party. They just arrived. We have the chef preparing the ahi poke as we speak. Is everything to your satisfaction, Ms. Miller? We were expecting you with them." "Actually, Kimo, that's why I'm calling. I'm not there, I'm in Chicago." "Oh no, I am so sorry to hear that. Did you miss your flight?" "Something like that," I said. "Listen, Kimo, I need to be very clear with you. The credit card used to book that villa is mine. The deposit was paid by me. The reservation is in my name. However, since I am not present, and since I did not authorize any other guests to check in without me, I have just reported the transaction as fraudulent to my bank." There was a stunned silence on the other end. Excuse me. "The bank has frozen the funds. The charge you just ran for the $14,000 balance. It's going to bounce. It's been revoked." "Ms. Miller," Kimo's voice lost its breezy island charm instantly. "If the payment is revoked, we cannot host the guests. This is a very expensive property. We have strict policies." "I understand," I said. "That's why I'm calling. I don't want you to be out of pocket for the chef or the amenities. My family is there under false pretenses. They told me the flight was overbooked, but I just found out they gave my ticket to a man named Toby Vance. Is there a Mr. Vance there?" "Yes," Kimo said, sounding scandalous. He actually requested the master suite, the one with the ocean view. He said he was the guest of honor." "Of course he did." I let out a dry, humorless laugh. "Well, Kimo, here is the situation. You have a house full of people who are not the cardholder. The payment has been pulled. Unless they can produce a valid credit card to cover the full $14,250 plus the $5,000 security deposit immediately, they are trespassing." "I will have to go over there right now," Kimo said, his voice tight. "This is highly irregular. We have a zero-tolerance policy for payment disputes upon check-in." "Good," I said. "Go over there. Tell them the card was declined. Tell them the owner of the card reported it stolen. And Kimo." "Yes, Ms. Miller." "When they ask who did it, tell them Sophie says aloha." I hung up. I sat back and waited. It took exactly 12 minutes. My phone lit up. It was Patris. I let it ring. It stopped. Then it started again immediately. Leo calling. I ignored it. Julia calling. I ignored it. Then a text from Patris. "Patris, Sophie, what the hell did you do? Patris, the manager is here. He says the card is declined. He says you reported IT stolen. Patris, pick up the phone now." I watched the messages roll in like waves, crashing on a shore I would never see. Leo, Soph, please pick up. This guy is threatening to call the police. He says we have to pay $19,000 right now or leave. We don't have that kind of money. Julia, are you insane? We are with the kids. You can't do this. I waited another minute just to let the panic truly set in. Then I typed a single message to the group chat. Sophie, I thought the flight was overbooked, Auntie. The typing bubbles appeared instantly from 3 different people. Patris, it was a mess. We didn't want to worry you. Sophie, so who is Toby Vance? The typing bubbles vanished. Silence. Complete terrified silence. Sophie, I see he's enjoying my seat, and my villa, and my champagne. I hope he has $19,000 to cover his stay, because I sure as hell aren't paying for it. The silence lasted for about 3 minutes, which I assume was the time it took for them to frantically whisper amongst themselves while Chemo stood there with a card reader tapping his foot. Then my phone rang again. It was my mother. I hesitated. Mom was sweet, but she was passive. She hated conflict. She likely had no idea about the mechanics of what Patris had pulled, only that I couldn't make it. I answered, "Hi, Mom." "Sophie?" Her voice was trembling. "Sophie, honey, what is going on? There is a man here shouting about police. Patris is crying. She says you canceled the vacation because you were jealous." "Jealous?" I repeated, my voice rising. "Mom, did they tell you why I wasn't there?" "They said the airline bumped you. We were all so sad." "They lied, Mom," I said, cutting through her distress. "There was a seat. They gave it to Patris's boyfriend, Toby, the man staying in my room, the one eating the dinner I paid for." "Toby?" Mom sounded confused. "Patris said he was, a travel consultant who helped us get the villa upgrade." "He's a grifter, Mom, and Patris gave him my ticket. She told me to stay home so he could come, and she expected me to pay for it all from Chicago like a fool." "Oh my God," Mom whispered. "Oh, Sophie." "Put Patris on the phone," I said. There was a shuffling sound, and then Patris's voice came on. She wasn't crying anymore. She was furious. "You selfish little brat," she hissed. "How dare you? Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is? Toby is a guest. He is an important investor. You are ruining everything." "I'm ruining it?" I asked, my voice deadly calm. "You stole my trip, Patris. You lied to my face. You put a stranger in my bed and billed me for it." "We were going to pay you back," she shrieked. Toby's waiting on a huge settlement. He was going to cover the whole thing next week. We just needed the card for the hold. "Then let Toby pay for it now," I said. "He can't. His assets are frozen until the deal closes. Sophie, you have to unfreeze the card, right now. Chemo is calling the cops. They are going to throw us out on the street. Think of your nephews. Think of your mother." "I am thinking of them," I said. "I'm thinking that if they stay in a villa with a con artist who can't even pay for a hotel room, they're in danger. You have 10 minutes to pay or leave, Patris. I already spoke to the bank. The fraud report is filed. If you try to use my card number again, it's a felony." "You will regret this," she spat. "You are tearing this family apart." "No, Auntie," I said. "I'm just balancing the books." I hung up. I didn't stop there. I went back to my computer. I had the bit between my teeth now. Who was Toby Vance? I dug deeper into his Facebook. I found a post from 3 years ago. A woman tagged him in a photo. Warning, Toby Vance scammed me out of $5,000 for a business opportunity that never existed. I found another one. A rip-off report from 2019. Vance Ventures is a pyramid scheme. I took screenshots, all of them. Then I went to the family group chat. Sophie, Image 1, Scam Warning Sophie. Image 2, Rip-off Report Sophie. Image 3, Assets Frozen, excuse usually means broke. Sophie, just so you all know who you're vacationing with. Patris's investor is a known scammer. He didn't have the money to pay you back, Patris. He was never going to pay me back. You were going to leave me with a $15,000 bill and a fake IOU. I watched the read receipts pop up. Leo saw it, Julia saw it, even the cousins saw it. Then a text from Leo. "Leo, he just tried to run 3 different cards, all declined. Chemo is kicking us out. Leo, we have nowhere to go." It's 9 p.m. here. The hotels are fully booked because of the festival. Leo, Soph, please, just for tonight, pay for one night. We are begging you. I looked at the no-show on my screen. I looked at the leather bag by my door. I looked at the empty space where my family should have been. I remembered the years of paying. The years of Sophie will handle it. The years of being the ATM with a heartbeat. I typed back. Sophie, ask Toby to manifest a hotel room. I blocked the number. I blocked Patris. I blocked Julia. I blocked everyone except my mother. 10 minutes later, I got a notification from my bank app. Alert, decline transaction, $450. At Aloha Taxi Service. Reason, card frozen. They were in a cab, they had been evicted. I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of wine. It wasn't a Mai Tai and I wasn't in Hawaii. But as I took that first sip, sitting in the quiet of my own home, paid for with my own money, I realized something. This was the most relaxing vacation I had ever had. The next morning, I woke up not to the sound of waves, but to the silence of my Chicago apartment. It was a peaceful, heavy silence, broken only by the chirping of a cardinal outside my window. I stretched, feeling a strange sense of lightness. For the first time in years, I wasn't waking up with a mental checklist of everyone else's needs. I checked my phone. My mother had texted me at 3:00 a.m. local time. Mom, we are at the airport. Toby left. He took an Uber to a friend's house and just left us standing on the curb with all the luggage. Patris is hysterical. Leo is trying to get flights home, but the prices are astronomical. We have no place to stay. I stared at the message. The image of my family, my mother, my brother, my sister-in-law, and the kids, standing on a curb in Honolulu in the middle of the night while the millionaire boyfriend sped off in an Uber was almost too cinematic to be real. I felt a twinge of guilt for my mother. She was caught in the crossfire. But then I remembered she had boarded that plane knowing I was left behind. She had watched me get erased from the trip and said nothing. I didn't reply immediately. I made coffee. I sat on my balcony. I let the reality sink in. Around noon, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize with an 808 area code. Hawaii, I answered. Hello. Is this Sophie Miller? A male voice, tired and defeated. Yes. This is Leo. I'm borrowing a stranger's phone because my battery died and I don't have a charger. Hi, Leo, I said, my voice cool. Soph, please, he cracked. He sounded on the verge of tears. We've been at the airport for 6 hours. We tried to get a hotel, but without your card, we couldn't cover the deposit for 3 rooms. Julia's credit is maxed out. Patris's cards are declined. We are stuck. Where is Toby? I asked. He bilayed. As soon as the villa kicked us out, he said he had to go secure funds and just vanished. He blocked Patris's number. Imagine that, I said dryly. The man who stole my seat also stole your dignity. I know, Leo sobbed. I know we messed up. I know it looks bad, but we have no way home. The one-way tickets for today are $1,200 each. We don't have $10,000, Soph. We literally don't have it. You had $14,000 yesterday, I reminded him. You were ready to spend my $14,000 on a villa. That was supposed to be temporary. Patris swore Toby was good for it. Patris lied, Leo, and you knew it. You knew I wasn't bumped. You knew there was a seat. You chose a con artist over your sister because you thought you'd get a free vacation. I'm sorry, he wailed. I am so sorry. Please can you buy the tickets? We will pay you back, I swear. I will sign a contract. Anything, just get Mom home. I looked out at the city skyline. I thought about the years of Sophie will handle it. I thought about the no-show on my screen. No, I said. The silence on the other end was absolute. What? Leo whispered. No, I am not buying your tickets. I am not rescuing you. You are a grown man, Leo. You have a wife, you have a mother, you figure it out. Call your bank. Call a friend. Sell the luggage, I don't care. But Mom's. I will buy one ticket, I said. For Mom, I will email the confirmation to her phone. She can fly home today. The rest of you, you're on your own. Sophie, you can't leave us here. You left me in Chicago, Leo. You left me with a suitcase by the door and a lie. At least you're in Hawaii. Enjoy the beach. I hung up. I bought my mother a first-class ticket home. It cost me $1,800. I didn't care. It was the last money I would ever spend on this family trip. The fallout was spectacular. Leo and Julia ended up maxing out 3 emergency credit cards and borrowing money from Julia's parents to get home 2 days later. They flew standby, with 3 layovers, in middle seats near the back of the plane. Patris had to stay in a hostel for 4 days until her Social Security check cleared so she could afford a ticket. She slept in a bunk bed in a room with 6 backpackers. The Grand Kapalua Villa was a distant memory. When they finally trickled back into Chicago, the family dynamic had shifted permanently. The silence from my end was deafening. I didn't call to ask how the trip was. I didn't offer to pick them up from the airport. 2 weeks later, I received a notification from the bank. The fraud investigation was closed. The $14,250 charge was permanently reversed. The villa had tried to fight it, claiming the guests were authorized family. But because I had the no-show documentation from the airline proving I wasn't even in the state, the bank sided with me. The villa likely went after Patris for the money, but good luck getting blood from a stone. I also filed a report with the airline about the ticket switch. It turned out Patris had used my frequent flyer miles to upgrade Toby's stolen seat. The airline, horrified by the fraud, refunded my miles and banned Patris from their loyalty program for unauthorized account access. The real climax came at Thanksgiving, 2 months later. I hadn't spoken to Patris since the selfish brat phone call, but Mom begged me to come to dinner. "Just for an hour," she pleaded. "Everyone is sorry." I agreed, but I brought a guest. My lawyer, well, not really, but I brought a folder. I walked into my parents' house. The air was thick with tension. Leo wouldn't look at me. Julia was aggressively chopping carrots. Patris was sitting on the couch, looking smaller and older, nursing a glass of cheap wine. "Hi, everyone," I said, placing the folder on the coffee table. "Sophie," Patris said, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and defiance. We missed you." "Did you?" I asked. "Or did you miss the credit card?" I opened the folder. Inside were the bank statements, the chat logs, the screenshots of Toby Vance's scam warnings, and the final invoice from the villa. "I'm just here to clear the air," I said, "since there seems to be some confusion about what happened." I looked at Leo. "You knew I wasn't bumped. You let Mom believe I was." I looked at Patris. "You stole my seat for a con artist who left you stranded." I looked at Mom, "And you watched it happen." "We are family," Mom whispered, tears in her eyes. "Yes," I said, "and that is the only reason I didn't press charges for identity theft against Patris. But that brings me to this." I pulled out a document. It wasn't a lawsuit. It was a notarized letter. "This is a formal notice," I said. "I am removing myself as the guarantor on Mom's car lease. I am removing myself as the emergency contact for the kids' school tuition, which I have been paying. And I am closing the joint account I had with you, Mom, for emergencies, because apparently funding Patris's love life counts as an emergency." "Sophie, you can't," Julia gasped. "We rely on that tuition help." "Then maybe you should have thought about that before you drank champagne in a villa I paid for while I sat at home," I said. I stood up. "I didn't stay for turkey. I didn't stay for pie." "I love you all," I said, looking at their stunned faces. "But the Bank of Sophie is closed. Permanently. Happy Thanksgiving." I walked out the door. It's been 6 months. I haven't spoken to Patris. Leo sends me awkward texts on holidays, which I reply to politely but briefly. Mom and I are rebuilding slowly, but the dynamic has changed. She knows now that I am not a resource, I am a person. And the money I saved, the $14,000 I got back, I booked a trip. Solo to the Maldives, first class, overwater bungalow. No family, no drama, just me and the ocean. And when the waiter asks if I want another drink, I say yes. Because this time I know exactly who is paying for it.